Those are the numbers going into South Boston.
Okay.
So we could go in and put in AWAS 28,125. I'd put it number 2 if it was me, but up to you.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to do it when I got in the air, but you're saying do it in Con 2 first. Do it now.
Well, I mean, if you want to. You can do it in the air, but, you know, when you're in the air, you're really wanting to be, and 5 doesn't show up.
Oh.
Remember, pull the end of the knob out to get to the quarters. There you go. So 12 is the same as 125.
Okay, cool. So that's set for COM 2, so when I'm ready, I just go here.
Yep.
Okay. 126.
At 5, visibility 10, clear below 12,000, temperature 20 Celsius, dew point 2, altimeter 3002. Person County Airport. Automated weather observation 1920 Zulu weather wind 280 at 4 visibility 10 clear below 12,000.
Still close?
Will be before you take off.
Okay.
But thank you for reminding. I'm serious.
Okay.
That's part of your jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I try to suggest people do is be aware of how long it's going to take you and who else might be in the area wanting to use the runway. Because if you go down there and it takes you 10 minutes to get ready, then somebody else is going to be not sure that there's anybody else, but if they turn and taxi back, they could be sitting there waiting on you a while. Hence the reason I tend to do a lot of the stuff that I can do sitting still before I ever move, gives the motor more time to warm up. But you can also do it in the air if you're so inclined.
So are you saying I should have done my run-up there?
No, not the run-up,
okay,
but the programming of your equipment.
Okay.
The run-up, I don't think you should ever do a run-up on a ramp, except, I mean, maybe if you had to, go in the corner, face away from everybody, the brakes give out, at least you won't kill anybody.
Okay.
But in general, I don't think doing a run-up on the ramp is a good idea. Raleigh-Durham, they teach, one of the, or more of the flight schools teach you to do that. I think it's a horrible idea.
Delta, clear runway 24, taxi back via Alpha, Person County.
All right, looks like everything's okay.
All right.
First County traffic, Archer 384 Delta is 8 miles southwest of the field, inbound for the downwind for runway 24, Person County.
And do you know how to use your seatbelt?
Yes, I do.
I'd love to be able to show you if you had any questions.
Well, that's kind of you, but I think I can manage. So Pick the bolt loose, right?
This thing was way off.
That's for moving it in and out of the hangar.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is taking off runway 24, Person County.
Slow down. Slow down. Shouldn't be much faster than a brisk walk. Remember, you are turning a tricycle.
Yeah, you're right. I was more being conscious of that person behind me. I know, fly your plane.
Well, I do want you to be aware of other people and considerate, but not to the detriment of yourself.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is departing the area to the north.
Be sure and look carefully. You're turning into what could be somebody on a crosswind. Not saying there is. I'm saying, you know, you're the guy that's got to be looking for traffic and thinking about where other planes might be and how to
Traffic Archer 384 Delta is entering the left downwind for runway
position
24.
yourself. Yeah, you can't get out of a page till you cut the cursor off. You can do that by the end of the knob. Push it in. Now you can change pages. So the big knob is file drawers. The small knob is the pages, the files within the file drawer.
Okay.
What you're looking for is all the way to the left. That's
Okay.
the nav page or file drawer. And then turn the small knob to check, see what else you want or what's available or so forth.
Okay.
Uniform, 10 miles to west, inbound for landing. Hard counted.
All right, head on up to 3,000 and we'll do some air work.
Okay.
So what do we use that second GPS for?
This one?
Yeah.
Traffic.
There you go.
All right, I'm at 3,000.
Okay, let's move a little bit further from the airport, and
Okay.
then we'll do some steep turns.
Okay.
Person County traffic, 384 Delta is clear, runway 24, we'll be taxiing back out to Person County.
Pearson County traffic, cruise 142 Bravo Foxtrot, taxiing from the ramp 24, Pearson County. That's the traffic, parachute operation from 14,000.
Alright, County traffic, Colonel East of the Charlie, turn west crosswind runway 5, Harnett. Harnett traffic, Cessna 60315, left base, runway 5 full stop, Harnett.
Person County on 395 Delta, turning left base to runway 24, Person County.
And Harnett County traffic, is there traffic entering the downwind?
Kind of funny.
Hey, Harnett County traffic, somebody entering a downwind, left downwind, runway 5, Harnett traffic. Thanks.
Person County on 395 Delta, turning final runway 24, Person County.
Downwind, runway 5, we have a tally on that incoming traffic.
Okay, so you're at 90 knots. That's a good speed to do steep turns at.
Okay.
Remember that as you roll in, you can add about 100 RPM of power. I don't know that I'd spend a lot of time looking at it. I just bump it up a tiny bit. And some people like to trim for the steep turns. Some people prefer just to hold the back pressure.
Is it allowed?
Yeah,
The check
anything
ride?
you want to do is allowed. You're the PIC.
I just didn't know when to
Throw the
check.
guy out if you don't like what he's saying to you.
Okay.
Now, I would get everything in your favor that you can. So I would, cardinal altitudes are typically a little bit easier than,
Charlie, we're going to go ahead
I
and
mean,
extend our
nothing says you can't,
runway 5 and let that traffic go ahead of us, number 2.
nothing says you can't do it at 2,200, 2,900 feet, but
Right.
generally I would try to get everything in my favor I could get in my favor.
Okay. Okay. I'm at 3,000.
Okay, and then get the plane trimmed, balanced, trimmed,
Okay.
2,200, 2,300, whatever RPM you're going to use.
Okay.
Try to hit the same numbers every time.
Okay.
And usually I watch this as a trend in a steep turn. It doesn't give you quick information, but it'll go up or down pretty fast.
Okay.
So if it's staying pretty still, this one's staying pretty still, the nose can drop, and you can, go from not coming down at all to coming down 500 feet a minute really quickly.
Okay.
So it's important not only to scan to see where your eye hits the horizon,
Right.
but also maybe if you find a bug spot straight in front of you or something, but also to watch your gauges and just slightly nose up here. If you're 5 degrees up, you're going to be climbing. If you're below the white line, you're going to be coming down. So you got a lot of tools that can help you. It's up to you to figure out how to use them.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, but again, you're the boss. Don't rush till you're ready.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, you too.
Left first? I gotta do a clearing turn.
No, steep turns are clearing turns.
Okay.
Stalls, slow flight or not. Stalls and slow flight, you've got to do clearing turns. But you're counterproductive if you're doing them for a steep turn. Now, steep turn is a 45-degree bank. Right now, you're a little under 30. That isn't going to work on a check ride. And you're coming down 700 feet a minute. I know it's been a while. You want me to demonstrate one for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's been 6 months more.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So the steep turn is halfway between the end of the small hashes and the two big hashes.
What's the big hash?
Actually, that's 30, that's 60, and a mark in the middle is 45.
You increasing?
Pulling it back a tiny bit. It's not trimmed quite right.
Okay.
Close. But, you know, if you're starting off, again, you want, it's like stacking the deck in a poker game. You don't want to just go in there helter-skelter. If you can stack the deck, stack the deck. Okay, look around for traffic. See anybody? Lift the wing a little bit. Don't see anybody. I'm going to use that, the real whitest of those buildings up there,
Okay.
where the water tank is.
Okay.
That's my landmark.
Okay.
It is also, I'm going to put that there as a reminder. All right, here we go. I'm going to roll in the turn. As I go through about 30, I'm going to add just a touch of power. I'm going to roll right over to 45. As I get to 45, I want to be quick glance here. I want to look outside. I don't want the nose down, don't want it up. Back in here, stay on the 45 best you can. Going left really doesn't take much rudder. And they also, it doesn't have to be super smooth. What it has to be is as precise as you can make it. So I see the orange pointer coming back up.
Yep.
See this going up. I'm pushing a little bit. Lead the roll out. Let it roll. Is center up on that tank and right over to the other side without stopping. As I get in, I'm going to pull back up just a tiny bit of back pressure. Looking for 45. Remember, if that nose goes down into the yellow, you're going to be in trouble in a hurry. So you want to see where it is on the 2.5 degree mark. That's about where it needs to stay. Now, this is not technically a maneuver on the gauges. This is supposedly a visual maneuver. There's my point. Lead the roll out by 5 or 10. 15 degrees maybe. Roll slowly or fast as you need to hit the target and pull the power back. Because if you don't, it's going to try to climb on you.
Okay.
Nothing to it. Try doing it in the jet.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I agree with you.
Probably the toughest thing
That you do?
on the check ride.
I agree.
Okay.
2,000, temperature 21 Celsius, dew point.
Which means you got to get it right, or
Yeah. I mean, you got to do it to have a private pilot license. You might as well do it right the first time.
All right, so
Have numbers in your head, target numbers. 2,300 here. 0 here. 3,000 here. 2.5 degrees up, the bank angle. Have all those numbers in your head.
okay.
Otherwise, you're demonstrating aviation insanity.
Okay.
Montgomery County traffic, Skyline 4936 Tango, turning left base, runway 3, Montgomery County.
All right.
Now, if you start out slow, it's going to change the game. Again, the closer you can be the same every time, the easier it is to hit the numbers.
Okay.
The more you change the starting place, the harder it is.
Okay.
But you're pilot command
So just start when I'm ready?
whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And you just practice. I mean, go ahead and do something, and then adjust next time.
Okay.
See what you're doing. See where you think you're making mistakes. Figure out what it takes to do it differently.
Okay.
Do a tiny bit of left foot. If you're rolling rapidly, you need some foot. Pull back on it. You see that nose down? You're fixing to go lose 100 feet quicker than you can blink. All right. Now you're at the limit. You're now past the limit. Roll back out and quit.
So it looks like my speed is my issue.
No, your issue is controlling the airplane. You had the nose 5 degrees down. We're coming down 700 feet a minute.
Okay.
That means in 10 seconds we're going to lose the 100 feet. We can't lose more than that. Hit the targets.
Okay. So you're saying nose control is my issue
Yeah.
more than this?
Well, it actually it's something you've struggled with most of your flying.
What?
Is pitch control.
Okay. I'm going to turn around and
All right. That's
point the north.
fine with me.
Okay.
See, you're doing this turn, staying right on the money. All you got to do is be twice as steep, and you got it. But if you pull up to 5 degrees nose up, you're going to probably climb. Now, use your feet when you're rolling, especially if you're doing it quickly.
Okay.
The right foot, if the roll is clockwise, right foot. If the roll is counterclockwise, left foot. Feel what you're doing.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
All right.
You're going to lose an altitude, 500 feet a minute. You're about to bust your 100 foot right now, that quick. You're done.
All right, so let me tell you what happened. Started pulling, and I saw that I was gaining altitude, so I relaxed, but I relaxed too much.
Well, you relaxed enough to bring it back where it needed, and you're correct. You started out 5 degrees nose up.
Right.
When you relaxed, you just kept staying relaxed, and the nose in that steeper turn is going to try to maintain equilibrium, and the only way it can do that is to come down. So remember, you don't have to necessarily be smooth with this. If you're going like this to get it right, that's acceptable,
I
believe
didn't
it or
know
not.
that. Okay.
Whatever it takes.
I thought it had to be smooth.
I'd like for it to be smooth. It shows shows better command, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay. All right, I'm not gonna necessarily face north again. I'm just gonna move my heading bug.
Yeah, pick out something you can see as you come around.
Oh.
Okay, smoke will work. Remember, if the tip of this thing gets into the orange, you're going to bust your ride.
Okay.
If you don't, I'll restate that. If you don't correct it right away, you're going to bust your ride.
So my focus should be on that first.
Well,
make the turn.
kinda, because you
Okay.
see 5 degrees up, you see what it's doing.
Yep.
If it's dead on, it may be coming down slowly. The tip of this, the adjustment for that's not perfect. But whatever is level at your normal cruise or your normal entry speed, you want to stay at that.
VFR at Farmville is very clear. Calm wind, and we're using 2-1. Roanoke, Skyhawk 5645 Tango off Farmville. Looking for VFR advisories, please. VFR at Farmville is calm wind, great visibility, and using 2-1, runway 2-1.
Here we go.
Farmville traffic, 5 Mike Romeo, turning final for 2-1.
I can hear it. I can hear it. 200 feet low. Can you hear it?
I could hear it. I was following this.
You're not. You can't follow a single thing.
Okay.
Remember, technically, this is like looking out the windshield. And I could use looking out the windshield. If I could put a little red dot right there, I could use that. So people talk about using a bug spot or something. But it's still a very, I can't tell looking at the windshield if I'm climbing or descending very much. If I'm going way up or down, yes, I can tell that. But I can't tell if I'm losing just a tiny bit.
Okay.
Afternoon, Mike, 2 Whiskey Whiskey. Good afternoon, how you doing? Doing well, nice up here. Yes, it is. Oxford Henderson traffic 9809 Hotel is a
So in normal level flight, your nose is either about on the horizon or just barely above it on that little golden wedge, whatever you want to call that thing.
Right.
In your steep turn, it needs to be on about the 2.5 line, which is the first line up, that one.
Okay.
But you can't just stare at it.
I won't.
Okay.
I learned my lesson.
All right. I beat on you enough?
I need it. I'm not laughing. I need it. It's true. That's an airport.
Yeah.
What airport is that?
What airport you figure it is?
South Boston.
Are we lost already?
South Boston.
That's it.
I didn't realize that flew that far. All right, I'm at 31. I'm just going to do that.
All right, that'll work. I'm okay with that. Pull, pull, pull. You see that yellow? See it down in the yellow? If you don't bring it right back up, you're going to lose altitude. It's that simple.
All right. So my guess is I turn and pull, because
Well, you got to pull some,
because the
absolutely.
natural reaction of turning is going down.
That's correct, because
Okay.
lift is perpendicular to the wing.
Okay.
And the only way you can make more lift is if you increase the angle of attack.
Okay. All right.
Pull, pull, put some muscle. There you go. Keep that little muscle in there. Don't relax. It won't stay level if you relax. Pull, 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 pull. Muscle, pull. Right there. Better.
How bad was I?
You probably
100?
close enough to pass that one.
What?
But he isn't going to tell you to pull. I'm telling you to pull.
Okay.
He's just going to say, sorry, bud. Come back next week.
All right. Let me try it again. I'm going to do one direction good first.
Okay?
That's okay.
That's perfectly fine. Plus, when you turn left, the nose appears a little bit higher because you're not sitting on the center line. When you turn right, the nose appears lower. You can't let where the nose appears to be fool you from where you are.
I'm going to get back to 3.
Limited traffic, Skyhawk 840 Lima, 6 miles southwest of the field. We're bound for landing. We'll be joining the left downwind for runway 24, W6.
Power back up. Power up. Don't let it go any lower. Good. Now too high. Right about there. Pull on it. There you go. Now that one will pass.
Okay. I'm going to try another one, and then if it looks good, I'm going to go right. How's that
Okay,
sound?
so wait a minute.
What? What?
He should be going behind you, but he's at the same altitude you're at. Actually, you're 200 feet high. You must be at 3,500.
I'm just going to go this way then to get away from them.
Okay. But control your plane.
I'm going up.
You're climbing. Why? Why are you climbing?
I have no idea.
Well, then don't.
Okay.
Because he just climbed to get away from you. And you
Okay.
climbed right into him. So let's go back down to 3,000.
Okay.
Get to all the ducks in a row before we start.
Okay. A more physical thing than I thought.
Southbound traffic, Archer 8273 Alpha is about 8 miles to the southwest. Be inbound across midfield to join the downwind on runway 19 or southbound.
That one isn't showing up. For that, or you've got the number wrong on it. Yeah, I guess maybe that is, I don't know.
Runway 6, to the south. And Oxford Henderson traffic, 572 Bravo Papa.
Another one just popped up.
24 Oxford Henderson.
Are we just too close to the airport? Is that why?
Oh, well, I mean, planes are planes. Everybody's going somewhere.
Yeah.
But you've got to be thinking about your plane. They're 8 miles away now.
Okay.
He's not even close to you now.
Okay.
But you also have to be aware of it.
Traffic, C40 Motor, open, spotting 2, Northwest bound, last code, home traffic. South Boston traffic, Roger 8273 Alpha, 5 miles to southwest, going to be joining the left downwind after we cross midfield for runway 19. And we see that traffic that just departed 19 on the screen. We're looking for you out the window for South Boston. Oxford Henderson traffic, 10909 Hotel Skylane, left base now runway 6. And the Bonanza clear.
If that's in the goal, you're coming down.
We'll be entering the downwind right runway 23, full stop. Longboat back.
Air Harbor traffic, Bavaria 43 Mike Tango is 10.
So Tom, what you got to do is you got to not stare at any one thing. Just constantly looking as much outside as inside. But
Okay.
as soon as you see something that isn't perfect, make a correction.
Okay.
To the southwest, going to be across the midfield to join the downwind for runway 19 here, South Boston.
Abilene traffic, 47 Hotel, 6 miles north, inbound for 12, Abilene.
Tri-County traffic, Cherokee 8003 November, 10 miles to the northeast. We'll be maneuvering around the north end of the airport to join left downwind runway 01. Tri-County. Abilene traffic, 5 Mike Romeo is just to the east, pretty close to Priory Lake. Roger 679 Charlie Mike, clear out to the east.
Uh,
535 Mike Romeo, you go first.
All right, let's do some slow flight
why?
because you need a break.
I don't want to break.
Traffic, Roger 8273 Alpha is crossing midfield to join the downwind.
All right, we'll try one more then.
Okay.
Now, don't roll into your turn until everything's perfect.
Okay.
You're coming down 500 feet a minute when you start this.
All right, let's do slow flight.
Franklin traffic, 06 Charlie Alpha is 10 to the northwest, inbound for landing.
going to do? Stalls, just slow flight?
Slow flight.
Okay.
So slow flight is landing configuration. Hold your altitude. You're plus or minus 100 feet on this one, just like on everything else. Plus or minus 10 degrees on whatever heading is assigned. So go ahead, get your carb heat in. About 1,700 or so RPM, just like a landing. Hold altitude, don't let it come down, and start adding your flaps in. When you get all the flaps in, it doesn't need to be a long delay. You can do it in sections, but don't delay much.
Okay.
And then once you get the flaps in, whatever power it takes to hold altitude is what it's going to take, probably 2,200. And don't come down in the meantime. So 2,900 feet, hold 2,900 feet. So start adding power in. Power is altitude, pitch control is airspeed. You're coming down. Why? Now, when I first learned this, you were supposed to be right at the chirper on the stall buzzer. Greg lately has been saying, well, what speed are you going to hold? And if you say 50, then that's a 55. He's okay with that, but that's the number you need to be at. 60 is not really slow flight, which means you may have too much power in.
Right.
Remember, airspeed, if you pitch up to slow down, try to go up a steeper hill, it takes more power, but if you're holding level and you need to slow down, it takes less power. Think of driving a car, except that you get to control how steep the hills are.
Right.
But again, airspeed is pitch, power is altitude. So you need to slow down some more. It means we need to pitch up more, but if we do, we're going to climb unless we take some air power out. All right, so let's hold what you got and let's see what happens. Now, feet become real important as you slow down. Takes just a smidgen of right pressure to keep from turning. Not much, just barely touching it. All right, so we're beginning to come down. Let's pitch up a tiny bit more. Now, we are slightly above where we started, so you're doing fine on that part. You're holding about 2,900. Good. So right now, it looks like it's taking more like about 1,900 RPM instead of 21.
Okay.
Maybe 2,000, somewhere in that range. And having a power setting in your head goes a long way to solving your problems.
Okay.
If you're guessing, never paid any attention, it's going to be a lot tougher.
Whiskey 7 miles to the west and be overflying midfield pattern altitude for the downwind runway 21. Asheboro.
Air Hovertron, Columbia 43 Mike Tango is left base.
Henderson, Oscar, traffic south, November 1305, Bravo, student pilot and solo flying over
Now,
field.
if you get too slow and stall, you're not going to do the maneuver.
Okay.
The maneuver is not a stall, it is a slow flight. So use whatever power it takes to keep from stalling.
Okay.
Now, you're coming down 400 feet a minute. That's because you can pull power out on me. Your airspeed's good, but you don't have enough power to maintain altitude. So add some more power back in. We were about 1940 was working pretty close. 1900. And if you are coming down a little too much, add some extra power. Climb back up.
How long does this have to be held for?
Usually not long, but he's going to look to see if you're actually doing it or are you struggling. And the more you struggle, the more he's going to give you a chance to fail. If we started at 2,900, that's where we allowed 100 feet. He'll occasionally give you a little extra on one or two maneuvers, but he's not likely to give you 200 feet on everything.
Okay.
The other thing is, if you're off, are you working hard to get it back? Because that's part of what he's going to look at. So if we're sitting here and you've now got it stable at 2,700 feet, but you're 200 feet low and we're not going back up. If it takes wide open to go back up, go wide open. If you're getting a thermal and you're going up, pull the power out. But power is in this maneuver. Power is altitude. Pitch control is airspeed. Okay, let's make a left turn to heading of 150. A shallow bank. You're almost stalled out, so about 5 or 10 degrees is really about like you're doing is about all you need. If you get 20, 25, you're going to be pushing the edge of a stall.
Okay.
So because we're so slow, we don't have to bank very steeply.
Hey, if you're still going to enter a left downwind, come across midfield and enter left downwind.
To work your feet. If you're working your hands this slow, your feet become more and more important. Faster you go, the less important your feet are. But anytime you're slow, feet are pointing the nose or they're making the turn nice and coordinated and bringing you around. Good. Good rollout. All right, go back to normal cruise.
Want me to get rid of this?
I know. Are you maybe? Are you wide open? Carb heat. Now work your flaps. Just like a go-around, aborted landing, or a power-off stall. Any of the three, same recovery. Hold your altitude. All right, let's turn left to about 030.
Almost midfield downwind, 1600.
So we got traffic out there about 1,200 feet below us. Climbing, I think.
I'm behind you. 05 Bravo.
Like he's just off your side looking at the screen, but we ideally want to pick him out.
I'll be right coming from the airport. Do you want me to turn away?
No, I want you to just hold your altitude, keep going.
Okay.
But look for him, because if he's climbing, we want him, he should be just slightly, barely to your side. The Cherokee, I think.
I think he's more like right under me. No? Oh, there he is.
Yep, I see him.
Henderson, Oxford traffic, Falcon November student pilot and solo 05 Bravo.
Okay. Your motor just quit. Carb heat, carb heat, carb heat. Where are you going to land?
I'm going to try there.
That would be good. Which runway?
7. Or 1.
Are you going to dive in? Remember that the criteria for doing this are to immediately establish best glide speed. Number 1. Now, runway 19 is what the winds are favoring.
Do you want me to come around?
Tuck traffic, Commander 114 Juliet.
I probably could.
To the
High enough.
to the east at 3,000. Tuck.
And Tuck traffic, Cessna 2 Papa Alpha, we are high downwind, simulated engine out, coming out of 2,500 feet this time, 2 Papa Alpha, South Boston.
Doctor traffic scout November 1305 Bravo, student pilot and solo, turning base runway 6.
So you should be able to make that. That's a 4,000 foot long runway. They have you throttle for a second. You'd have been hard pressed. You could do it, but you'd have had to done all kinds of maneuvering to have landed on one. And part of that's, you know, how much steeper you're looking down at stuff. Now, obviously, we can't get to those fields over there, those white houses, but we could easily get to the other fields between here and there.
Turn altitude, we're going to cross midfield and enter left downwind for 6, looking at traffic on the downward for 6 now.
And Tuck 2 Papa Alpha is a high, slightly high downwind for runway 19, or will be turning base momentarily.
Henderson Octa traffic, student pilot and solo, final runway 6. I'll be...
All right, I have you throttle one last time. Make sure that motor's still running.
We got student pilot in sight. We're going to cross midfield and enter left downwind for 6, full stop, Henderson Octa.
Air Harbor left downwind 9 or Air Harbor.
All right, now, you got to really work from here. So I'm looking way down at that. Can't dive in and make it work. You'll end up going way down the runway. What are you going to do?
Straighten out a little bit.
What else? What other options you got?
Pull up.
That makes you higher. You're 800 feet up right now.
140 Juliet is left downwind, runway 19er. Have traffic in sight.
Tuck traffic 2 Pop Alpha is a high final, about a half mile off the end of runway 19, Tuck.
That was a good landing down there, student pilot. Looked like a butterfly with 4 feet. Henderson Octa.
All right, let's go around. Wide open. No. You know better than that. Always wide open on the throttle. Every maneuver you need to pick up speed, you need to climb, you need to stop coming down, is always wide open.
Right.
That was a smooth landing. Looked great.
All right, we're going to just stay in the pattern, do a normal landing. It's a 1,400 foot traffic pattern.
Okay.
Take Cherokee 20 Juliet, turning final for 6, full stop, Henderson Octa.
It's not William. It's not. It's called William Tuck. It's not called Boston, South Boston.
It goes by everything.
Okay.
It's like Person County, Raleigh Regional, that's
Okay.
Person County. This one, the airport originally was named for Bill Tuck, who was from this area, that was one of the governors.
Okay.
and been named Tuck since, you know, the 50s, I reckon.
Okay.
It's near the town of South Boston.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 19.
So it says Tuck right here, but it also says South Boston. Now, what changed was you never put in any but 10 degrees of flaps. Once you were sure you had it made, you could have dumped the more flaps in, all the flaps in. You were correct that straightening it out for a little while helped, but we were in pretty tight, which was not bad. So you could have then used a hard side slip. You know, there's all kinds of tools that you have at your disposal. Tuck traffic 2 Papa Alpha is downwind runway 19, Tuck. Yeah, you're fairly tight right now. Remember where that runway would be if you were Person County? Would it be halfway up your strut, a third of the way up, 2/3? This runway should be the same distance up your strut.
All right.
And the reason it's throwing you is because it's like 2/3 the size or 3/4 size of Person County, and your brain's trying to make it look like Person County. So your brain says, well, I must be too far away because it looks small.
Tighten this or something.
Did I?
I don't know.
I did. Can I? Is it too tight?
It seems tough.
All right. I loosened it a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 19, South Boston.
Don't skid it. That's the most dangerous thing you can possibly do is skid this plane at slow speeds near the ground. That is where spins come from. That's why using your feet is learning to use your feet is so critical, and learning to feel what you're doing with your feet.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is on final for runway 19, South Boston.
All right, we're going to stop on this one. A full ramp out here. And we'll taxi up. I want to pick up a tire.
Okay.
Got for me.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is clear of runway 19. So you had an ulterior motive, huh?
It's called multitasking.
I'm okay with that. How far do you want me to park?
We're going to go up here
Right
to
up.
the next turn.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to give you the friendly advice on this, and I'll take over once we turn in. You want to piss somebody off in a huge, huge hurry, taxi up close and spin it around with a lot of power.
I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't. But
I wouldn't even have done this. I would have parked over there and walked.
Well, if I wasn't going to carry the tire, I would have too.
Okay. Plus they know you. Do whatever you want. There's your plane. Infested. Why are you going in? All right. Your controls.
All right, I have the controls.
Call South Boston traffic. 172 Papa Alpha's taking off runway 19. South Boston.
Especially where you got crossing runways, even though the grass isn't used very much, you got to be aware of it because somebody's taking off or decides to land and go around. By the time you cross over, it could get ugly.
Traffic, citation 54 Charlie Zulu, and 206.
South Boston traffic. 172 Papa Alpha is departing to the south.
Okay, what'd we do with those foggles?
Don't know.
to kill a
Put the
cat.
out and then have it.
Yeah, that would be a mess. Did he jump out?
Yep, she jumped out
Where'd he go?
after she dumped in my airplane.
No. Oh God. Unbelievable.